Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. Now today I'm doing a review of the game Sherlock Holmes The Devil's Daughter on PlayStation 4. Now I've been an avid fan of the Sherlock Holmes games for a number of years, and most recently the last one, the Crimes and Punishment game. I really enjoyed that. I thought they'd starting to perfect the Sherlock Holmes games. Now when I play a game of this type, certainly a Sherlock Holmes type detective type game, I don't buy it for action. I don't buy it for the adventure, if you like. I want a very specific game with this, and I want it to be very deliberate, and I want to feel like a detective. I want to feel like Sherlock Holmes. And I thought the Crimes and Punishment game absolutely got it bang on. They are not for everybody, these types of games. They are really very slow paced, but I like them for a number of reasons. Mainly because you can kind of relax when you're playing them and it gets you to work your brain a little bit. So I was quite looking forward to the sequel, Sherlock Holmes, The Devil's Daughter. Now, these games, I don't really believe that they should be priced at full price when they come out, because I don't feel as though they can fall into the AAA category of some of the other big wide releases. So I tend to wait for a sale for this. So straight off the bat, what I'm saying there is that I don't think it's worth paying full price for this game or these games. So certainly wait for a sale. But I think I picked this up on the PlayStation 4 store at a sale a couple of months ago now. I think it was something like £12.99 or £15.99, something like that, which I think is certainly a good price for these sort of games. Now, The Devil's Daughter, as with the previous game, the Crimes and Punishment game, you've got 5 cases to solve. And if you like, I think certainly with this one, the Devil's Daughter game, it kind of focuses on his daughter, hence the title. And if you know anything about Sherlock Holmes, the clue's in the title really as to who this girl's father actually is, because you learn fairly quickly that it's not Sherlock Holmes. He's basically just adopted her. And she's like a regular figure throughout all the cases, and it all comes to a head at the end in regards to where the storyline is heading, which is all well and good. But is this game any good? Well, yes and no. When this game adheres strictly to the format of the previous game, which is like the solving the clues and the examining the suspects, piecing clues together, all that kind of stuff, and trying to figure out who the culprit is, going over crime scenes to look for evidence, all that kind of stuff. That's where this game succeeds again. What I think where this game fails, and fails quite dramatically in a lot of ways, is it tries to do something different with this game. Is they have almost tried at times to turn it into an action adventure game, but those sections, when they do appear, absolutely suck. There's a section in the first case where you're being shot at through like a marsh, and it's really painful. And these sort of things turn up throughout the story. And I'll be honest, praise the Lord, if you like, they put in an option to skip these sections. And I learned after the first case or two to skip them, and I would advise you do the same, because if you don't, they are really going to frustrate the hell out of you, because they are terribly done, terribly executed. The idea is good, what they tried to do something different was good, but they executed it so poorly it becomes an absolute chore to get through these adventure type sections. So I would strongly recommend you skipping those. And for me, when you skip those sections, and there's a couple of other sections like the lock picking stuff that I just skip them, because they just drive me potty. That's not a puzzle really. It's just an annoyance. For me, the puzzles are trying to piece the evidence together and trying to figure out who the criminal is and who the culprit is. That to me is what I enjoy about these games. These other ridiculous little puzzles that they put in there. I'm really glad they put the skip option in there to skip them. And I think the reason they put that option in there is maybe when they played it back afterwards, they thought, "Hang on, guys, this sucks. I think if we don't give them the option to skip this, we're going to get slaughtered." So they have put an option to skip it in, thankfully. So it doesn't ruin the game. I think if they hadn't have done that, it would definitely, for me, have ruined this game. I still think, though, that the previous game, Crimes and Punishment, was a better game than this. Because the first two cases in this, and arguably the third case, are pretty good. The first two are very strong, I think. A Study in Green is my favourite one in this game, The Devil's Daughter. But in the last one, Crimes and Punishments, you could argue, I think, that all the cases stood up on their own and they were all good. And the last two cases in this one, The Devil's Daughter, felt very, very rushed to me, to the point where you could finish, certainly the last one, within half an hour. It wasn't even really a case, it was just him trying to find his daughter. And I thought it was maybe going to finish on a high with another case after that once this one was over, but no, it turned out to be the last one, which disappointed me, I have to say. Another thing that's worth noting here, if you are a fan of these games, is they've changed the tone from the last game to this one. The last one, Sherlock Holmes and Watson, looked, you could argue, drastically different. They certainly looked older. Definitely Watson did in the last one. Whereas in this one, I think they've gone more down the route of making them a bit more accessible to a younger audience. They've gone down the Sherlock, the BBC series route, and the Elementary route, the American show, and even the Robert Downey Jr. Movies. They've tried to make them a little bit more relatable. I mean, that's Watson there on the left. He looks absolutely nothing like Watson in the last game. Now, that didn't bother me so much, but I didn't think there was anything wrong at all with how they looked in the last game. So I think what they've tried to do here by adding in the adventure elements and the action elements and making the characters look younger, for me was very clear that they wanted to appeal to a younger audience. But I don't think they would have hit a younger audience because, sorry, but younger audiences are out playing Call of Duty and Destiny and all those type of games. They need to understand their audience here. The audience for these games is someone like me. I'm 44 years old and I want to play these games for the mental challenge and the slow pace and the more story elements that they give you. I'm not interested in action adventure when I play a game like this. I just want to be thrust into the world of Sherlock Holmes, if you like, and almost be Sherlock Holmes and be a detective. And I think this game does it in part, but it fails in others. But I don't think this game is a disappointment. I think that all they've done really is maybe take a slight step back from the last game. And for the next one, and I really hope they do a next one, just realise that the steps they took in this game to improve it, I think they've drastically missed the mark in some of the areas. And I think they need to dial it back a bit and just focus on the detective side of it, because when you're doing that in the game, the detective side of it is absolutely at its strength and it's a great game. But if they don't focus on that and they focus on the action side of it a bit more, then I think I would probably start moving away from this series on the next game, because it's not something that will interest me anymore. But I do think it's worth a go, this. If you haven't played it and you haven't played a Sherlock Holmes game before, try Crimes and Punishments first before this.